According to the descriptor marketing blurb on Atari 50, Save Mary was originally conceived for the Atari 2600 video computer system in 1990, designed by one Todd Fry, he of Sword Quest fame, and also the man who brought you Pac-Man on the VCS. Well, at least he got paid. Save Mary never saw the light of day, and the game wouldn't be officially released until 2005, when it was included in the second-generation Atari Flashback plug-and-play console. Since then, Save Mary would see inclusion in a variety of Atari compilations until finally getting its official 2600 cartridge release in 2023. But we're playing this on Atari 50 because they only made limited quantities of the card, and even if that weren't the case, well, I'll be honest, I'd much rather be getting you 1700 games than you 2600 ones, but that's besides the point. Anyway, the goal of Save Mary is to, well, save Mary from the rising water in the canyon. You do this by laying down bricks for her to climb until she reaches a high enough point that you could grab her with the crane and bring her to safety, and then you get to save Mary all over again with kookier brick shapes that make the game more difficult than ever because Mary, well, she's not all there, shall we say. Which is good for us because otherwise we wouldn't have much of a game afterwards. So it's a bit of a puzzle game and quite a challenging one at that. You'll land bricks on the ground for Mary to climb and try to lay those bricks in a way that she can maneuver her way upwards. Bricks can only land a certain way in order to hold form, otherwise they will crumble as easily as they do when they fall off the mountain because you didn't grab them. On occasion, items will appear for you to pick up and drag to the top of the mountain, each with different effects such as slowing down the rising water or keeping Mary still momentarily. That sort of thing. The idea is to have Mary reach higher platforms so that your crane can grab her and bring her to safety. If the water catches up with her or she falls off a platform, you lose a life and have to restart the stage. You also lose a life if you happen to land a brick on top of Mary's head because damn it, Jim, you're a bricklayer, not a doctor. You're supposed to be saving the poor girl, not bury her at sea. Save Mary is certainly an interesting little game that would have been a rather unique title on the 2600. Had this seen actual release in 1990, it would have coincided with the whole Tetris craze that was a thing around that time, seeing the grizzled wood-grained veteran get a puzzler of its own. And it truly is a rather unique title that I don't think had been done up to that point on the console. Also helps that it's a fairly fun game, albeit a somewhat challenging one with a bit of a learning curve, but also has a certain charm that has you coming back for more to try and better your performance. Controlling your crane is simple enough. You press and hold the button to grab the items and let go of the button to drop them. Lining up bricks to form solid platforms takes a bit of doing, especially with the weirdly shaped ones in later rounds, but is also weirdly engaging in its own way. Save Mary boasts 3 difficulty settings and no game variations and is a single-player game. Certainly one of the nicer looking games on the console for the time. You still have that overall look that screams vintage Atari VCS, but at the same time, we have a nice enough looking title screen. The main player area has lots of little details going on with the rising water submerging the bricks and Mary herself looking vaguely like a humanoid caricature. That's as far as I'll go. It's still fairly abstract stuff, but it's stuff that requires less imagination to figure out which is what. Well, say for the pickups, that is. As for sound, it's totally fine. You have your usual stock Atari sounds and a couple annoying jingles. Not much else to say there. Overall, Save Mary is a somewhat fun and challenging little puzzle game on the 2600 and probably would have been a worthwhile addition to any VCS library had it seen release back in the day. It might not have been enough to turn Atari's fortunes around, but it would have been an interesting last hurrah for a system born in the late 70s and lasted all the way to see the birth of the 16-bit machines. It's on numerous Atari compilations, including the recent Atari 50 by way of DLC expansion, and well worth a sampler too.